This is a demonstration of Tutorial 1, Introduction to CATIA. The software is split into dedicated workspaces, and each workspace is dedicated to a specific industrial process. Let me demonstrate that. When you click on Start, you can see the different workspaces that you have in CATIA. You have the workspace of mechanical design, and you have access to different elements based on the license that you have, such as part design, assembly design, sketcher. These are modules. These are workspaces. You have access to shape workspace, analysis, AEC plant, machining, and several other elements based on the license that you have. This is very important to note that this module will introduce the usage of part design as well as sketcher. Let's go ahead and click on part design. When you click on part design, it loads for you the ability to name the part. Go ahead and name the part capital PRT, your initials. In my case, I am Rami Herrick, so it's going to be RH. T01 for tutorial 1, V01 for the first version. The naming convention is something that we will cover later. So once again, capital PRT, RH, T01, V01. You should have the same name with the exception of the initials. You should change RH to your own initials. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. It's going to open for me access to the software. The software, you have the reference planes XY, YZ, and XZ. Go ahead and try to hide those planes. You right click, hide, right click, hide, and right click, hide. These were the reference planes. Go ahead and click on XY plane. While you're holding the shift button, clicks on the ZX plane. Like this, you would select all of your different elements, right click, and click on hide show to show them again. On the left, you saw me manipulating the design tree. This is the design space, and this is the compass. And in here, you have access to the different toolbars and buttons relevant to CATIA. At the top, you can see the different data files, like the file to save, to print, to insert stuff, and so on. I'm gonna go ahead and click somewhere on the white in here and zoom in with the features so that I can maximize the tree so that you can see it better in the recording. Let's go ahead and start covering a little bit the tutorial. First of all, we are going to create a new part, and then we are going to look at some of the features, such as how we zoom in, how we zoom out, and how we manipulate a certain part. Let's go ahead and create our first sketch. We're going to move the mouse on top of the XY plane. You can do it in the design tree, or you can do it in the design space. So if you select in the design space, you can see that the design tree got selected. I'm going to deselect by clicking in the middle of the design space. If you go ahead and select XY from here, it's going to highlight it. It is a preference. You decide whatever works for you most. Then, after we have selected which reference plane we're going to click on the sketch, come over to the right and click on the sketch button. This is going to open for you the ability to create a sketch in the plane that was selected, which is the XY plane. Now we're going to create a circle with 100 millimeters radius. So I'm going to click on the circle icon. As you can see, I'm gonna move to click on the middle so that I select the center of the circle, and to create 100 millimeters, I'm going to demonstrate it by creating a 110 and then adjusting the dimensions. So, in order to have the 100 millimeters, we're going to come in here, click on Constraint, and click the circle again. And it's going to create for us, and it's going to show us the value. This is D for diameter. We wanted a radius of 100, so a diameter of 200. We got a diameter of 220. I'm going to double click on this dimension, go ahead and type 200 and click enter. And it's gonna update it, and I'm gonna have my first circle. My first circle has a radius of 100 or a diameter of 200. The next step, let's go ahead and close the sketch. This is the icon to exit the workbench where you were creating your sketch. Once you exit your sketch, we are going to click and create the first pad. This first pad, we're going to click on the pad icon in here. It automatically selects the sketch because it was pre-selected. I'm going to cancel it. It was in orange. If it was not selected and you click on the pad, it's going to ask you to define which profile, which selection. You can either come in here and click on your sketch, or you can click on your part body to maximize it and then see the sketch that you created before and select it. This pad is going to have a thickness of 20 millimeters as placed by default. So we're going to click preview to see how it looks like, and we're going to click OK to accept it. I'm gonna select anywhere so that I can see my sketch. Before we move on with the tutorial and we continue as we are building our sketches, I'm going to go back to your first pages where it had a classification of how you can move things when it comes to the mouse, and then how you can view the different elements. So let's go ahead and go through a mouse demonstration. So CATIA requires a 3-button mouse. When you click the central button, so right now I'm clicking with my middle finger on the central button only, and I'm maintaining it, you can move your part. So this is just like the pan function. So in here, you can click on the pan function and it will move your part. Either you do it this way, or you can select the middle pan button and move it on the mouse. So I'm going to right click, reframe on, and select the middle button and move it to demonstrate it. Or I'm gonna click on the pan in here and move it to demonstrate it. Now, the second one, if you want to rotate your part, so you can either click on here on rotate, and then you can rotate your part to see it from different locations, or you can move your mouse by clicking on the middle button and on the left button at the same time, and it will rotate your part. So right now, I have clicked on the left button and the middle button at the same time, and this is how I can rotate the part. So either you click on this one and you rotate it, or you click on the middle button and the left button and you rotate it. The last element is the zoom. If you want to zoom your part, if you want to zoom in, you can click on the plus buttons in here, or if you want to click zoom out, you can click on the minus button in here. Or with the mouse, you can click on the middle button. So I'm going to reframe on again. You can click on the middle button, on the left button, just like how if you were to rotate. By maintaining your middle button on the middle by maintaining your middle finger on the middle button, just remove your left finger, and now you can zoom in and zoom out. Being on a PC, in a PC, it's giving me some snapping on the image, but I'm demonstrating it here again. So once again, middle button, left, and you remove it, and you can zoom in and zoom out. I propose you go ahead and pause the video and test around these different functionality of the zoom in. And don't worry, you will not get used to it. This is something that with time you will be able to get used to it and become good at it. So don't worry for now. This first tutorial you're going to struggle a little bit. Some other functions that would be useful are this yellow, which is fit all in. If you click on it, it would fit everything that you have. These four buttons, we have demonstrated them. They are for panning, rotating, zooming in and out. This is when you want to have a normal view. So if you click on it, it will give you a normal view. As opposed to this one will give you an isometric view. It would give it back in terms of isometric view. This one can help you create multi-view. So you can, the same part, you can select and change different views. Even if you are on the same part, it will be, you are capable of creating different view. So you can select a frame and say you want this view in here. You can select a frame, say you want isometric view in here, and you can change all of them. This one, I have just demonstrated it. It is how you can pre-select certain views. Finally, this one, you can actually change the shading that you have. I'm going to click on multi-view. I'm going to go ahead and make them all isometric. The habit I have to press reframe on, this is to recenter the part. And you can click in here and then say, I want this part to be shading and so on. And you can have these different elements. So you can have this one shading with edges hidden, so you can see the hidden edges. And one of the nice features is if you want, this is wireframe, if you want it just wireframe. And this one is shading with, you can customize and have shading with material. So, and if you have defined a material, this button would be very, very useful. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that. I'm going to click on this button, which is apply material. I am going to click on metals and select aluminum, select my part and apply material. And as you can see in here, the shading with material gave it the feeling and the look of aluminum. I'm going to go back to shading with edges. So now going back to the tutorial, we are moving to the creation of a second sketch. At this stage, I'm going to reframe on my part. I'm going to select the top surface and I'm going to click on sketch again. At this stage, what you are being asked is to create an ellipse, and this ellipse will have a short axis of 120 millimeters and the second long axis at 160 millimeters. So we're going to come here and click on the ellipse feature. I'm gonna move the sketch tools and I'm gonna move the user selection filter, and I'm going to minimize, zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna click on my ellipse. The first one is gonna be 120 and the second one is going to be 140. And I have my ellipse. I'm going to close the sketch and we are going to create the second pad, And this second pad, according to the tutorial on page 9, it has a dimension of 60 millimeters. We're going to click on pad, come in here, put a dimension of 60 millimeters, click preview, rotate that to see it, and that is correct. If it creates your pad along the other orientation, it is sufficient to click on the arrow to move it to the other dimension. I'm going to demonstrate that. If I click in here, it has created it along the wrong orientation. You can either click on here the direction, or you can click reverse direction here. I am going to click OK, and I'm going to click isometric view, and I'm going to fit all in so that it is clear for everyone. Now you are being asked to create a sketch. Rotate the part and select the lower face. So we're going to rotate our part. We could have selected the part, and you could click on the normal to plane, and then we're going to click on a sketch on this part, and the sketch is going to be, as described on page 11, a 30 millimeter circle radius. As we did it before, I'm going to create a circle, click on constraints, and double click that value of the constraint and put it at 30 millimeter radius. So you can select radius and you can put 30 millimeters. Now we are asked to create a pocket. First of all, before we do that, remember we were in a sketch. You close, you exit the workbench, and we click on the pocket icon. I'm going to demonstrate how you can move the toolbars. If you click on this little line, you can actually move the toolbar to get it closer to you. Like this, if you're working with a certain toolbar the most, you can bring it closer. We're going to click on pocket, and we are going to define it as up to last. What does this mean, up to last? It means it's going to go all through the part, all the way till the other side. Let's go ahead, click preview so that we demonstrate it. This is the up to last. If we had a dimension, and the dimension was, for example, as a default 60, it would just open up until 60, and this is not what is desired. So we're going to click up to last again, preview, and click OK. And now we have the first pocket. What we're going to do, we are going to create a shell out of this part. The shell icon is found on the toolbar in here, and this is the toolbar. It is under, if you press shift and you move your toolbar, it will show you the name of it. It is under dress up features. This is under sketch base features. So we're going to click on shell under dress up features, and it is given a default inside thickness of 2 millimeters. So we're going to change this to 2 millimeters, and we're going to click on where we want to perform the shell. And by clicking OK, we have removed the material and we have hollowed the part with respect to the selected orientation. Next, we are asked to reduce the sharpness by adding some fillets to the part. So we are requested to rotate the part. So I'm going to click reframe on. This is a habit. So we have rotated the part. I'm going to deselect what's selected by clicking in the middle in here, and select the lower face of the second pad. So I'm going to come here and select the lower face of the second pad. Now, along the way, as I was moving between the screen that shows me the tutorial and the tutorial, I pressed scroll. And as you can see, the design tree disappeared. You can see a little scroll where I was able to get it back. So by selecting on the lower part, we're going then to click on the edge and create a 10 millimeters edge. So first of all, let's press the edge fillet and we're going to select 10 millimeters. We click preview and then we click OK. And this shows us the new version with a filleted face. Keep in mind, if you'd like to see it without, like through shading and without the different elements, you can actually change the different views that we have. So this is what we have in here at this moment. Now we are going to, after we finished filleting the external surface, we are going to select an edge and we are going to fillet that edge with 2 millimeters. So I'm going to click here. There, watch out, if you click here, look at your selection. It's the whole face. What you want is you want to come into this point and select the edge. Click again on edge fillet and select 2 millimeters and click OK. Now we have filleted our edge. Finally, we want to edge the top faces. So we're going to rotate the part. These are the faces we want to edge. So I zoomed in. We want to edge this face and we want to fillet this face. So by pressing Ctrl, I was capable of selecting both of them. I'm going to click edge fillet now and we are going to select 1 millimeters, preview, and we click OK. And now we have filleted the final surface. There is a little trial that you are asked to do in order to play around with the edge fillet definition. You can come back in here and try it out. Since this dimension is so small, it will not be able to withstand more than 1 millimeters. I'm going to put 4 millimeters and see what's going to happen. And it's going to say, hey, it's not going to work. So I'm going to click no. I'm going to click close. Double click on edge fillet and reduce that back to 1 millimeter and click OK. And I'm going to zoom out and select an isometric view so that you can compare. At this stage, please play around with the different view sections, play around with the zoom, and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the challenge. The challenge is, after you apply the material, to find out what is the mass of your part if it was made out of titanium. So let's go ahead and change the material first from aluminum to titanium. We're going to select here and we're going to apply the material. As you can see, the material has changed in here. Let's see how it looks. We're going to click on shading with material. This is how it would look. And then the very, very final thing is these are the measurement icons. And this one, if you click on it, measure inertia, and you select the part, it would tell you the volume, the surface area, and the mass. This one has a mass of approximately 1 kilograms, 1.094 kilograms. It also gives you the center of gravity location, the inertia, and the principal moments. And this wraps up the first tutorial. Thank you very much for listening to it.